Hello everyone! Hi! I'm back. It's me. It's Katie. I'm the Introverted Reader. I'm back. I took a couple of days off. I got back from my holidays just on Thursday there, and I had a very lovely restful week. I was in Florence for a couple of days. If you follow me on the socials, I had a great time. It was wonderful. But now I'm back to finally wrap up these books. I still have a little bit of time before I have to go back to work again, so I'm just chilling, but I need to get these books wrapped up because they've been sitting on my desk for ages waiting for me to talk to you about them. So we're gonna go through all the books I read in September. So I've got some notes here because obviously it was the Introverted Reader readathon in September, and I managed to read 8 books, but I DNF 3. So actually, I think 2 of these weren't even technically on my TBR. I kind of went outside the TBR for a bit because obviously I DNF'd 3. But anyway, so the first book that I completed in total was Black Panther, The Young Prince by Ronald L. Smith. This was for the prompt to read a middle grade. And overall, I gave this 4 stars. This was fun. It was a good time. It's basically... it is about the Black Panther, obviously, but he is 12 years old, and you know he's out having fun with M'Baku, his best friend. If you're familiar with the Black Panther world, M'Baku is part of the Jabari tribe, and you know him and M'Baku were just having fun in Wakanda and whatever. But then his father sets him aside one day and says, "Listen, Wakanda's not really a safe place for you right now. There's enemies closing in on us, and I need to make sure this place is safe for you, and I'm worried they're going to come for you and hurt you, so you and M'Baku are going to go to America and go to school there for a bit, and then I'll come get you whenever it's safe for you to come back home again." And so him and M'Baku shipped off to America. And yeah, it goes from there, really. And then they, you know, it's just a normal middle school, no private, prestigious school or anything like that, you know. And, you know, 12-year-old T'Challa just sort of taking this all in, and he makes friends. But then there's some mysterious goings on at the school that he's gone to. And listen, I thought this was a whole ton of fun. Definitely would recommend if you have kids that enjoy the Marvel films. Definitely read this. I think I might give this to my niece, or I might see if her school's library would take this, but I thoroughly enjoyed my time reading it, and like I said, I gave it 4 stars, so that was great. But then, the day before the fall. But before we continue, let's hydrate. If you've yet to hydrate, please do so. Anyway, so the first DNF that we got this month was Rise to the Sun by Leah Johnson. This was for the prompt to read a book by a POC author. I got 2 chapters into this, and then I just went, no, I can't. Already, both of these characters are getting on my nerves, and I'm not spending an entire book reading from their perspective, so it's a no from me. It's basically this story like these 2 girls who meet each other at a music festival and fall in love, or whatever, in the however many days music festivals last for. I've never been to one. I mean, I've seen them on TV, but I've never been to one live before, if that makes any sense. But yeah, read 2 chapters, thought to myself, both of yous are so annoying, and both of yous are already annoying me, and yeah, so I didn't know for me. I'm sorry if this is your favorite book ever, but actually Jessie over at Jessie on YouTube read this, and they actually had some things to say about this. They actually highlighted some problematic things in this. I mean, their video was a while ago, but it's stuck in my brain because I hadn't read it yet, and when I picked it up, I was like, do you know what? I'm going to trust myself and trust Jessie and not read any more of this. So that's a DNF from me. I don't even think I rated it, if I'm being real. Okay, but then a book that I completed in total that I didn't DNF was Land of Stories by Chris Colfer, Beyond the Kingdoms. This is book 4 in the Land of Stories series. This is for the prompt to read a book in a series that I need to start / finish. If you guys know, I've been making my way through this series because I never finished it and I want to finish it. This is Once Upon a Time, but like a Disney Junior version, if you know what I mean. If you enjoy the TV show Once Upon a Time, you will enjoy this. But like I said, the two main characters are, well, they're teenagers at this point. In the beginning of the series, they turn 12 and their grandmother gifts them a storybook. And then the storybook ends up coming to life and they fall inside the storybook and they meet all the characters that they've read from their childhood. So yeah, and in this one you can see there's the Tin Man, there's Merlin, Queen of Hearts, there's Robin Hood and Peter Pan there as well. They traveled a whole bunch of different worlds in this, much like in the TV show Once Upon a Time. But unlike this, it's not a recycled storyline. But anyway, that's a rant for another day. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this and I gave it 4 stars. I'm just going through all these quickly because I don't want to keep you too long. Right, so the next one we have here, Ouran High School Host Club Volume 1. I recently rewatched the anime for this. It's one of my favorite animes ever because it's just so much fun. There's no big heavy drama. There's no big heavy angst. It's just fun, fluffy, good time with gorgeous anime boys in there, and it's beautiful. So it's a story about our main character, Haruhi. And Haruhi, she goes to this really prestigious high school, Ouran Academy. She got there on a scholarship because everyone else that goes there are a bunch of nepo babies and they got in because their parents, you know, are rich and whatever. But like she's there and she's looking around for a quiet place to study, but then she walks into this classroom this music room that she thinks is empty. It's not empty. There's students in there, the host club, and she gets so startled when she sees them that she knocks over a vase. And then the leader of the host club, Tamaki, this gorgeous boy right here, is like, that vase is very, very expensive. You're going to have to pay us back for that. And she's like, I don't have the money for that. And then they're all like, well, you can work for us and work off your debt. And it goes from there. And it's so fun. It's so whimsy. It's funny. It's wholesome. It's everything good in the world, and if you've yet to get into it, I would highly recommend getting into it. Like, if you want an anime that's not full of angst, that'll make you cry and wish for death, what? This one. My copy of this is really old, and it's really all faded, but whatever, it's fine. I think, did I rate this 4? I kind of low-key want to give it 5, but yeah, in my heart, it's 5 stars. Right, and that was for the prompt to read a manga / comic. Right, so because I DNF'd Rise to the Sun, I decided to pick something else, and I picked this book because I've been meaning to reread it for a while because the sequel is out, and that was The Sunbearer Trials by Aidan Thomas. This is wonderful. Like, I don't know why I didn't pick this beforehand, but I wanted to pick something that I hadn't read yet, but whatever. So we swapped out Rise to the Sun for this. Look how shiny. Anyway, so this is set in a fantastical world called Reino del Sol, where these Sunbearer trials take place every year, in which, okay, how can I explain? So their almighty deity sacrificed themselves to preserve the island and keep it safe from the dark gods. And the Sunbearer trials basically, you know, so many are chosen, they go through different, like, you know, obstacles and whatever, and at the end of it, one of them is, you know, sacrificed, I hope you remember what I meant by that, is sacrificed to the deity / the sun god to, you know, preserve the magic and keep the island safe from the dark gods. And our main character, Teo, is kind of a lower, I don't want to say lower class, but like, it's sort of like a system where like, there's the goals that are kind of like, to give an example, they're kind of like, you know, like the 12 Olympians hanging up there, but then there's a whole bunch of minor gods as well. He's the son of the goddess of birds, also known as a jade. The jades don't take part in the trials, but then obviously, in true fashion, he ends up getting chosen. And yeah, all the madness goes from there, really. I don't want to explain too much. I don't want to give you too much information. I don't want to accidentally spoil, but this is beautiful. I love Aidan Thomas's work so much, and I'm so excited to read the second book in this. And listen, look at this cover. Look at this cover. This copy is very, very special to me because this was the last book I purchased from Book Depository before it closed down. And I miss Book Depository so much. But anyway, 5 stars. Read this. It's beautiful. It's amazing. There's so much queer rep in here. Main character is trans. It's beautiful. Read it, read it, read it. 5 stars. Okay. Now, the second DNF. This is for the prompt to read a book that's been unread for too long. And this really hurt my feelings because I really wanted to enjoy this. I got the audiobook already. And that was City of Dusk by Tara Sim. I gave this book 250 pages of my time. I really tried. Like, look, 250 pages wasted. Like I got to chapter 13. The way nothing happened. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's basically set within this world where there's all these houses. How many houses are there? There's 4 houses. 4 realms: life, death, light, and darkness. Convergent City of Dust, full number of houses. And basically it's all them trying to compete with each other so that the king will choose one of them to be his heir. And you know, there's like necromancy going on. It had a lot of things that I thought that I would enjoy. Like, each one of them has all these like special abilities. Like, there's a necromancer, one of them's an elementalist, one of them can like control shadows, another one, and the 4th one has his ability is to do with light, and each person has their own deity that they look up to and everything. Again, it had a lot of stuff in there that I thought that I would enjoy, but honestly, even just explaining that now, I'm thinking, even me sitting here now trying to explain this to you, it feels overly complicated, and it shouldn't be overly complicated. And yeah, nothing was going on, and I just got to a point where I was like, I'm so bored, and I don't even really care about any of these characters. None of them are really appealing to me right now. There is queer rep in there, which I did appreciate. One of the characters, what's her name? Risha? No, not Risha. Tasia is bisexual. One of the characters has a sibling who's trans. And I think one of the other ones, the elementalist Angelica, is gay. Which, great, wonderful. And if you enjoyed this, that's great. But 250 pages of absolutely nothing. And I just thought, no, I'm not wasting any more time. So, soz about that. But then, my children, then I read a book that was beautiful. It was just, it was everything I needed. And that was Kitty by Elle McNichol. This was for the prompt to read a book with disability rep. This is actually a new prompt that I added for the readathon because I don't read enough books with disability rep. So I figured, why not read this one? So this is kind of a prequel to A Kind of Spark by Elle McNichol. If you remember, A Kind of Spark is from the perspective of Addie. And this one follows her older sister, Kitty, clearly. And Kitty is basically, you know, she's living in her small town of Juniper in Scotland. And, you know, there's a lot of people in the town that are not nice. There's a lot of kids in her school that aren't nice. And she has one best friend who she's very protective of. Kind of reminds me of myself because I'm very protective of my friends. And she witnesses a girl being bullied when she's out at a youth club one night. And she stands up for her and tells the bully to leave her alone. Everyone sees. And then the next day in school, everybody's like, all these other students, you know, approach her and they're all like, here, saw what you did the other night and I've got a bully that won't leave me alone. Can you help me out? And at first she's like, nah, I did that for my friend. Like, I'm not, whatever. But then she starts an anti-bullying campaign at her school. And it goes from there. And it's beautiful. And it talks about how so many people who are different get picked on all the time in schools. And, you know, teachers can be empathetic about it, but nothing practical is ever really done. And trust and believe, I've seen it for myself. Nothing ever gets done about it. And we need more people like Katie in the world. And it's beautiful. Again, if you have not read any of Amy Nichols' work yet, then you absolutely should. Like, it's beautiful. I love this so much. 5 stars for Katie. Right. So, and the third and final DNF. Please don't hate me. Emma, I tried. I got the audiobook for her. I did. And I don't even remember how far I got in, but it was so boring. I'm sorry. I was bored. I'm sorry, Jane Austen. I was bored. Like, I really couldn't be bothered. We get introduced, like, because it's meant to be about this girl who fancies herself a bit of a matchmaker in her little town. And, you know, she tries to put people together. She has a friend that she's trying to get, you know, married and whatever. But then, like, she goes off on so many tangents. And then I would get bored and I would drift off and get lost. And I was bored, frankly. Bored. This was actually for the prompt for family friend recommendation. And I know that, I mean, I never actually asked her outright, but I know my sister would have wanted me to read this, and I'm afraid to tell her that I didn't like it, or that I never finished it, but whatever. I might give this to her. I'm gonna see her today, so I might be like, here, you want this? But yeah, sorry. I couldn't do it, Emma, I'm sorry. Anyway, so those are all the books for the readathon that I read, so let's talk about the ones that were not on the readathon TBR. We're just gonna talk about them real quick. On my Kindle, I read Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I have a full video about this book on my channel. It's not the previous video I did before I left. It's the one before. Anyway, you'll see it on my channel. I have a playlist of it and for the Emily Henry book that I read as well. They're both on a wee playlist, so if you want to watch them both, you can go on ahead. But I loved Part of Your World. I loved it. It was so good. But anyway, full video about that on my channel. Go watch it. Oh, excuse me. And then I read, a pre-order came in, which this book is very, very special because it's actually written by a friend of mine. And it's Kingdom of the Moon, The Stroke of Midnight by Haley Jennifer Brennan. And Haley is actually a pretty good friend of mine. We actually met through our mutual love of K-pop. It was like, we both love K-pop, we're both Irish, and yeah, you know, and we've been talking online for, you know, for a bit now, and I had no idea that she was planning on reading a full-length novel. And it finally, like, she did not send this to me. She didn't send this to me for free or anything. I pre-ordered this with my own money, thank you very much. But yeah, it's published by Asteria Press, which is like this new sort of independent little publishing house, run by these two lovely ladies who, I'm sorry, whose names escape me, I'm sorry. But yeah, so Haley wrote this and I read it and it's beautiful. So it's basically, it's a fantasy story about two twins, Hazel and Finn. And Finn is about to take the throne in their kingdom because their parents have died. And Finn is going to take the throne. And, you know, he's going to get married and whatever, but, you know, he's never met his future wife, which is a little bit of a, And Hazel is due to get married too. Hazel's due to get married too to Tomasz, their best friend. He's like a family friend. They've known him for years. And, like, she's like, you know, he's all well and nice and all, but she's actually in love with the boy that works in the kitchen because, of course, called Jinx. And it's like, if you want to know why his name is Jinx, you have to read this book. You have to read it. I'm gonna try and leave a link down below so you guys can get a hold of a copy, because I love this. I loved everything about it. There's fairies in here, and I know what you're thinking, Katie, don't you hate fairies? Yes, I do. But the fairies in this are actually quite decent. I actually really like them. Mainly because one of them is called Felix. If you know, you know. But anyway, I'm not going to talk too much about this because I want to do a full-length review for it. I want to get my thoughts together and, you know, read it properly. But, you know, it's just, there's magic. There's a curse that is slowly enveloping itself over the kingdom. Race against time, magic, fairies, okay, I'm gonna do a review on this because I've talked your ear off long enough, but I'm going to leave a link down below so you guys can go get yourself a copy of this, because, listen, Haley works so hard on this, and she's working on book 2 right now, and this is just a friend supporting a friend. Like, she's not, she didn't entice me to say any of these things. I'm saying this of my own volition, okay? Like, I can speak for myself. And the very last book that I read was Land of Stories, book 5, which I just figured I didn't really have anything else left to read, and I was just like, do you know what, let's just carry on with this. I don't even know if I mentioned this in my October TBR before I left, but I finished it, and I've only got one more book left in the story, book 6 up there, the only one in the series that I hadn't read before. So yeah, did I give this 5? Was this my favorite in the series thus far? It was either this or book 4 that was my favorite in the series thus far, but regardless, I'm so excited that I'm almost finished with this series, and I'm really glad that I read it. So yeah, I've talked your ear off for nearly 20 minutes now. So that is it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. And I will leave all my socials and a link to where you can get yourself a copy of Kingdom of the Moon. You know, just, I'm supporting an indie author here, okay? We support indie authors in this household. Anyway, so that's it from me. All my socials down below as always. Subscribe, ring the bell, leave a like so the algorithm knows you like me. And I'll see you in my next video on Tuesday. Bye.